Imposter syndrome. If I can describe it in one way, it is not a fear that we have the lack of ability to do something. It's the fear that we're a fraud. It's the fear that we're going to be found out at any moment now that we shouldn't be where we are. No matter what it seems to be, no matter what we learn, or no matter what we improve upon, it almost just seems like it's kind of obvious to everyone else. And because it's so obvious, we tend to downplay our own worth, our own value, and really continue to think that we're in the wrong place. This state of imposter syndrome can create so many problems for us in our daily lives, from really becoming maladaptive perfectionists who set these impossible goals for ourselves and become very critical, to procrastinating every single task because we're just so afraid to start them. Or worse of all, we leave success to others because we think we're not deserving of it and that our skills don't really measure up to theirs. So without further ado, let's talk about how we can conquer imposter syndrome. Letting go. Now, this can have multiple meanings. So whether it be your power, authority, or possibly an influence, let go of the thing you're so afraid of. There's always this one secret that we're so afraid that people are going to find out. Oh, I actually don't know how to do this properly. I'm not so good at this, or I don't know how to do this. Let go of that secret. Tell someone. Because as soon as you tell someone that, hey, the one secret that you're so afraid of people finding out, it's already out there. There's nothing else you can do. And all of a sudden that imposter syndrome is gone because that secret you've been holding on for so long can no longer harm you. So simply put, tell someone what your fear is, what you're so afraid that's going to happen, what you're so afraid that people are going to find out. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to find out that they either feel the exact same way, they probably have the same fear, or they're going to tell you that that fear is completely unfounded. Number 2, harness it. Harness the power of that imposter syndrome. Look at it as an opportunity. If you can't change the procedure in which you use, can you change the perspective? Can you look at it as a chance to learn? Can you look at it as a chance to really take responsibility for the fact that, hey, maybe you don't know something. And it's totally okay to be out of your depth or to feel like you're not in the right place right now because, you're always growing. So instead of looking at it as a chance for you to be found out that you're a fraud, look at it as an opportunity for you to learn and continue learning and becoming this better person that, you envision yourself as anyways. Use imposter syndrome for your own benefit. And instead of looking at it as something bad, use it as an opportunity to learn and to continue to grow. Number 3, collect feedback. A lot of us, and a lot of us get feedback all the time. But how often are you actually recording it? How often are you actually putting it down? And how often are you remembering the bad stuff compared to the good stuff? A lot of time we only remember the good stuff. Whatever it is that the feedback you're getting, if someone is giving you feedback, whether it be maybe something at work or possibly even a friend, hey, telling you that you're good at this one thing, write it down. And it's so important to write it down because we will only remember the bad things. And in the midst of it, especially when you're feeling that imposter syndrome, those bad things will continue to show up over and over and over again. But if you have collected these positive results, these positive moments of feedback in your journal, wherever it is, you can refer back to it over and over again and remind yourself that, hey, you do a good job at what you already do. And yes, although there are some negative aspects to it, there's also positive that comes along with it as well. All too often do we forget the positive things that people tell us or the really good things that we do. So instead, really write them down, record them somewhere so that you can refer back to them and continue to manifest positive outcomes rather than just looking at the negative. Number 4, talk about it. Talking about it and being open is probably one of the most powerful things you can do when it comes to imposter syndrome. We all go through this thing called pluralistic ignorance. And for lack of a better term, and to put it simply, pluralistic ignorance is you assuming that you're the only person that goes through it because nobody else talks about it. And chances are people don't talk about it because they feel the same way you do. They're just afraid. They're fearful of the result and they're fearful of being in the wrong place or possibly being found out that they're a fraud. Being open and honest about it is probably one of the easiest ways to begin dispelling this imposter syndrome in your life. And the most dangerous thing about imposter syndrome is that we assume we're the only ones that go through it because no one really talks about it at all. It becomes increasingly harder for us to feel like we belong, especially when we're the only ones going through it at the time. So one of the best things you can do is be open, be honest, and talk to someone about it. Just tell someone your fears. And hey, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone because step 1 is just really letting go of your secret. And the last step, encourage other people. When you see someone doing an amazing job, don't just keep it in your head. Really verbalize it and tell them. Give them that positive feedback so that they can collect it for themselves. And you're gonna run into people that run these modesty ploys that don't let you compliment them. It's gonna be normal. You might be one of those people, and it's cool. but make sure they take the compliment. Like don't let them get away with it. Don't let yourself get away with it. Compliments that come from other people, especially when they're genuine, is that positive feedback that we're looking for. But a lot of us will continue to look for negative feedback because we want to improve only upon the negative. Look at the positive and also give other people that positive encouragement as well. Now, here are some final words. It may not be imposter syndrome at all. If you've ever gone through an experience where maybe you just feel like you're in the wrong room, maybe that you're misaligned right now, you might just be in the wrong profession. It's kind of like a feeling of not being able to use your potential to the highest caliber that you can. We are encouraged, and I mean encouraged all the time, to make choices in our youth. We're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to really try all the things that we can. But for some reason in adulthood, it's almost like we need to have all of our stuff together, every single piece. We need to know exactly what we're doing. Otherwise, it's frowned upon. And I'll tell you right now, no one really knows what they're doing still. Now, that doesn't mean I'm telling you to quit your job. It doesn't mean I'm telling you go and do exactly what you've always been wanting to do, or maybe you could, but it means really finding a life that's true to you so that you never, and I mean never, have to feel like an imposter ever again. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe so that I know exactly what kind of videos you guys like, and that I can continue making videos just like this. Otherwise, thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And as always, keep it 150.